Hello designers, you're welcome to my YouTube channel again. It's Nkechinyere Abadre here, and in this video you're going to be learning how to make a halter neck backless maxi gown. I have a similar tutorial on my channel, but that one is for the jumpsuit, so it's the same exact thing, but the difference is that one is a jumpsuit, this is a gown. So we're going to be taking the same exact process, which is drafting our basic bodies. So without much further ado, let's go into this tutorial. So I'm going to start off with my shoulder. The shoulder I'm working with is 16.5. Now I'm going to be dividing 16.5 by 2. And I'm going to come under there by 1 inches. Now this is for my shoulder slope. And on the neckline, I'm going to come down by 3 inches. And then on the width, I'm going to take 3 inches. That is, I'm going 3 by 3. And I'll connect this to the 1 inches slope. So for my neck point here, I'm going to mark out my bust point. I don't need my bust point, but I always do this so I can be able to get my chest line. So my bust point is 12.2 inches, and I'm going to square out the lines. So I always get 3 lines because I believe that 3 lines are mostly parallel. After this, I'm going to go up from this bust point line by 2 inches. Now on this chest line, I'm going to be squaring out my shoulder divided by 2. That is 8.2 inches. I'm going to mark it there so I can be able to square out the shoulder line. So now that I've done this, I'm going to mark out my waistline from my neck point. The waist length is 20 inches. So I'm going to mark 20 inches. I'm going to square it out. So from the waistline here, I'm going to be marking 9.5 inches for my client's hip line. So, and I'll also square out the lines. I'm not going to bother to mark the length because whatever I have on my hip line here, I'm going to put the measurements down on the length. And I'm working with a length 70 this time around. So this paper is very, very long. If you don't have access to use a long paper, please make use of what you have, and when you place it on your material, you can from there extend to your length on the fabric. Okay, now we've gotten the vertical measurement. Now we're going to go over to the horizontal, and we're going to mark our round bust measurement divided by 4. So the round bust I'm working with is about 46.8. I'm going to divide it by 4 and mark out what I have here. It's 11.7. This line here, I'm going to divide it by 2 so I can get my armhole slope. So whatever I have here, I'm going to divide it by 2. So after I've divided this by 2, I'm going to come in here by half an inch for the front. And then here, I'm going to connect it to my shoulder. And then create a slope for my armhole. So my round waist divided by 4 is 10.5. I'm going to mark 10.5 here. My round hip divided by 4 is 12.5. And I'll square out the lines. What I'm literally going to do now is to connect these lines. And for here, I'm going to connect it like so. I'm going to take this 12.5 down to the hemline. So I'm going to go up and be marking this 12.5 and then square it out on a straight line, okay? So at this point, you can choose to add 2 inches allowance, but for me, I don't think it's necessary now because I'm going to be doing a slash and spread method, meaning that this is not a fitted dress. So the next thing to do now is to mark out my halter neck measurement for this. So I'm literally just going to connect it from here to my neck point. I'm okay with this. I'm going to mark it out like so. And that's basically it, right? So the thing I'm going to do now is to do a slash and spread method. I can just divide here, divide the hip, and divide the hem how I want it. So I will just be doing it in 3 forms. Like I said, you can add allowance at this point, but I choose not to. So I'm just going to work with what I have. I have 10.5 here. I'm just going to divide it by 3. 3.5. So after marking that, I'm going to connect the lines. And then at the neck point, I'm going to also divide it by 3, 1.2. So I'm okay with this, and I'm going to square out the lines. I'm going to connect it like this to the waistline, so it's a straight line, okay? If I should use the bust line, it's going to be slanty. So I'm just going to connect it down to the waistline straight up, and do the same thing for this one, so I can get it in a straight line, okay? And I'm going to also do the same division on my hip, so I can square out the lines. I'm going to do 4.5 here, and I'll connect the lines, okay? I'm going to connect this all the way down to the hemline, okay? So this is what I have for my front piece. This is what it looks like, right? And the thing is, I'm not going to be drafting a back pattern. I'm going to cut out this on my fabric and then place the same exact fabric I cut out on the back, so I can be able to get the back. And remember, the back is going to be a low back, so I can decide where I want it to come from my waistline, okay? So that's it. And make sure to also label this, please. It's very important you do that, so you don't make mistake, okay? So I'm going to be cutting out the neckline. That's laid on the floor. Depending on how big you want yours to be. For mine, I want it to be very big because the person is tall. I'm leaving this a little excess out because I want to cut out straps. I'm going to go all the way from here down there. I'm going to take as much as I want because I want this to have volume, right? And then for the top part, I just gave out 1 inches and I follow the shape of this. So this 1 inches is for your folding. So make sure to give your 1 inches or 1.5 inches. And for here, I spread it out by 4 inches. Depending on how you want to spread yours, this is 4 inches, 4 inches. For the down part, I spread it out by 7 inches. So from here to here is 7 inches. From here to here is 7 inches, okay? I want it to have volume, like I said earlier on. And that's basically it. I didn't take note of what I did here and what I did here. I just took note of the neckline and the hemline. We're going to be cutting this out. And like I initially told you, the volume of this dress depends on how many yards you're working with. For what I have here, I have 4 yards. This is Adire or Kampala. So it's not even up to 5 yards. I would have loved it if it's 5 yards. And you can see how I folded my material, right? I didn't fold it the normal 60 length because I want this to be taller. The length I'm working with is 70 inches. And this is what is remaining for the back. It's going to be starting around the waist, or at least 3 inches, 4 inches above the waist. So that's the reason why I still have to work with that little excess I have. Okay, so after you're done cutting this out, one thing I'd advise you to do is to take note of your hip lines, okay? Your waistline, your hip line, just can mark a notch on them. Okay, so for the waistline here on the center front, I'm going to notch it out. So this will help me know where my waist is at the back, so I can properly work on the back. The back is going to start at the armhole here. That is, it's going to be equal with the front armhole. At this point, it's dependent on how low you want your back to be. So my client's waist length is 20 inches, right? And I don't want the back to start at 20 inches. It will be very, very low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up by, let's say, 6 to 7 inches. So I know that it's not that excessively low. I should go up by 7 inches, right? That means that 20 minus 7, that is 13 inches. So that means I'm using 13 inches from the neck point. I'm using 13 inches, right? So this is my 20 inches. I'm going to use that as a guide. And remember, I said I'm going to go up by 7 inches. This is what 7 inches is. I'm going to still go up by 2 inches for my folding. I want the back to show, and I still don't want it to be too low. This is my waist. This is my waist, right? They are going to meet at the armhole. What I'm going to do now is to lift this up. This is my armhole line. I can now go low from here. So I'm going to mark it like this all the way to my center back here. And the center back should be at least low a little bit. So I'm okay with this for now. But when I'm sewing it and I notice that, oh, this is too high, all I need to do is to what? Go down by 2 inches or 3 inches, depending on the client's preference. I'm going to follow the shape of this font. If you want your center back to start at the waistline, all you need to do is to just get your waistline, connect it all the way from here to your armhole. About this, and we'll go over to sewing this. Okay, now we're going to start our sewing by folding in the edges, right? So if you have a bias for the side, you can use a bias to fold in the side, that's your armhole side, right? But for mine, I'm going to be folding it, and then for your front piece, you're going to be folding in 1 inches for your strap. You can use 1.5 inches if you want it to be bold enough to accommodate your straps. Okay, so that is basically what I'm going to be doing now. After sewing the front armhole, this is what it looks like, and then you go ahead to fold your neckline. So this is what it looks like, and I want it to gather well, so that is why I made mine very big. When you're done with the front neckline and the armhole, all you need to do is to press properly, and then we're going to move over to the back. If you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm here pleading with you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel, as that will encourage my growth. So you need to do the same thing you did for the front. All you need to do is to fold what will be enough to pass the elastic through. So 1.5 inches is enough. You can just fold it in and then sew on the edge properly. Okay, so after sewing your neckline and then sewing the edges of your armhole, right, this is it. Make sure to iron it neatly. I have gone ahead to iron that. So this is what my strap is. I didn't take a note of the measurement I took for this strap because I had to use the material I have, and it's very long actually, so make sure yours is very long, and that is it. So this is what is going to be able to gather your neckline properly. Then I'm going to set this aside, and then we'll work on the back. So for the back, we're going to be inserting elastic. This is 1/2 inch elastic. This is what the back looks like. See how long it is. So you need elastic that gather this to fit the back. Make sure to iron it properly after you're done doing that. Now let me give you one tip. If you want elastic that fit in properly, right, all you need to do is measure your waist divided by 2, because this is only going to be at the back of your waist, so you don't need it to be your round waist. So half of your waist, so the one I'm working with is 42. 42 divided by 2, I have about 21 if I'm right, and then I took out 4 inches from that. My last previous video on the jumpsuit, I told you to take out 2.5 to 3.5. Well, that depends on how you want it to snug. If you want it to fit you perfectly, trust me, just go about 3.5 to 4 inches and make sure you are fitting. Don't just conclude on that. If you fit it in and it works for you, then go with it. If it doesn't work for you, of course, you can just take out 2.5 or 3.5 inches. And now I'm going to insert it with my safety pin. The thing I do is that I come here and I take an office pin and pin somewhere here, so it doesn't go all the way inside when I'm passing it in. And then from here, I will not pass it in. By the time you're done passing it out, this is how it will be, right? Now that I've secured the elastic in place, I can now join the sides together. There's not much work from here onwards. All you need to do is just to place the 2 sides, front facing your front side. So that's just basically it. So figure out your armhole from the other end, which is this. So I'm going to place it like so. This is the armhole for the front. I'm going to place it together like so. Now I'm going to be holding it by 1/2 inch. I'm just going to pin this in place. You're going to literally do the same thing on the other side, okay? Merge the armhole of this other side, front side facing the front side. Please don't forget that. By the time you're done joining the 2 sides, the next thing you're going to be doing now is to hem the bottom. Just hem it all round, all the way from this edge to the other edge, okay? And that's basically it. After working on your hemline, please make sure to iron it properly, okay? This is what the hemline looks like by the time we're done sewing it. So go ahead to weave your inside and iron your clothes neatly. So the last thing now we're going to be doing is the neckline. Now I'm going to be attaching my strap. This is what my strap looks like. Okay, so this is neatly done. You can see after doing this, you can use your safety pin to attach your strap, and that's basically it. If you've come this far, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It will mean a lot to me if you click the subscribe button while watching this. That would encourage me to do more. Okay, I want this to be very much gathered. That is the reason why I spaced the neck with 4 inches. I wasn't able to fit this dress because it's for my client, but then the outcome is so beautiful. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.